Good evening and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Tony Rathman.
And this is Cherie.
Chris Allgood.
Audra Keeler.
Lourdes Gonzalez.
Ron Iacovetti.
And tonight we have a very special guest. We have Daniel Klaes, who is the owner of the Hinsdale House Restoration Project, cast member at Ghost Finders, and the co-founder and CEO of the Greater WNY Paranormal Society. I'm assuming that's Western New York?
Correct.
Welcome, Daniel. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
So first question, and I'm sure our audience may be wondering this as well, although a lot of them may know. But one of the questions that I was asking, the restoration project that you're the owner of, are you also the owner of the Hinsdale house or just the owner of the restoration project?
No, I own the house too.
You own the house as well. That's awesome. When did you purchase that house?
2015.
Okay, so you've been the owner for a while then.
Yeah.
So whoever your friend was at work.
Yeah, do you know Paul Kenyon?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
When we went to investigate the Bel Air house, it was actually that day he texted me and said, "Hey, you got to meet the owner of the Hinsdale house, another great location." But that's so cool.
His former ex-wife is my coworker. Was my coworker.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I sought him out after buying it just because of his history with the location and the fact that he was there during the failed exorcism. Not many people can say that they were there when that happened.
Wow.
So to have him local and be able to hear it from his voice, and I actually had him have him there quite often. He has keys to the location, and he goes up there a lot. Just to kind of tune into the place. So
yeah, he can be your biggest trigger object right there. He is
a big trigger object.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's very cool. Okay, so this is a standard question that we ask anybody who comes on the show. How did you end up in the paranormal? Was it something that happened when you were young? Was it something that happened later in life? How did you end up going down the road of the paranormal?
They actually did a show called My Paranormal Nightmare about my upbringing as a child. I grew up in a haunted location, and it was something that I experienced, my sisters experienced, and later found out that my parents also experienced, but they didn't really tell us about it. So, I mean, nothing negative, nothing that was so bad that we couldn't live there anymore. It was more like a playful type of thing where we would have, for instance, like crayon drawings on our ceiling when we would come home. Everybody was gone.
Oh, wow.
We would have my sister was OCD about her stuffed animals, and if we were like leave for Sunday brunch or something like that and come home, and all of her stuffed animals would be moved from her bed to the center of the floor. And it was always a situation where we were, my parents were saying that pranks were being pulled on us, but you always had that inkling that something else was going on, and I just didn't understand it as a kid. Creepy noises. One time when I was right before I was a teenager, my parents had gone camping in Canada, and I wanted to stay home. I didn't want to go camping, and I stayed with my best friend who lived 2 doors down, and we were going to my house to get my G.I. Joe guys. And when we opened the door, we heard what sounded like Ring Around the Rosie. Oh, yeah, Paranormal Night Shift, too. Yeah, thanks, Anthony. But it sounded like kids singing Ring Around the Rosie on the upstairs of the house, and I was scared, and my friend's like, we got to find out who did this, who's up there. And he ran up there, and there was nobody there.
Wow.
So, this happened throughout my whole life, and I was always interested in it. And my friend had coaxed me into go into some psychic, area called Lilydale.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really big on that. I didn't know if I really believed in it at that point, but I went and made an appointment with a psychic, and I'm friends with her to this day because of the things she said to me. But she I got there and I always wanted to know in the back of my head, like, what's going on at my house? What is this stuff? And I went before I even sat down in the chair. She said, "You have 2 children's spirits living with you." I'm like, "What? Really?"
Wow.
Okay. She goes, "They're attached to something in the house." And I said, "Well, I'll be doggone." Like that's kind of like the whole what I kind of suspected, but it didn't really. It was like it's the truth coming out of the mouth now. So I was just like told my parents about it, told my sisters about it, and they were all just like, yeah, it's crazy talk. So I had gone off to college, and then my parents told me they were going to move, and I had just had a baby, and I asked my parents if I could buy the house from them. So I thought it would be cool to have my kids grow up in the same neighborhood and go to the same school and maybe get some of the same teachers, which they did end up doing. But when I got that deed is when I really started to dig in. And then later, when my child was like in kindergarten, 1st grade, he started telling me that he was seeing a little boy like that fades away. And I'm like, so I was a little bit more embracive of him, understanding what he was looking at, and I really dug in on the deed. Remember what she had told me, that they were attached to something, but I had no idea what they were attached to. And I ended up finding out that the little boy and a little girl died of cystic fibrosis from the original owners of that house. I found it on microfiche in the North Tonawanda Public Library. And I was like, damn, this is like becoming a Scooby-Doo episode, There we go. Except it's just lasting my whole life. And I don't get to rip a face mask off of somebody. But the only place in the house, we had searched high and low looking for something that may be there still, was this little attic. And it was one of those, those attics where it's just like a little square in the ceiling.
Yeah.
There's no ladder, no nothing. You got to go get a ladder to get into it. So I just went and got a ladder, and I popped that sucker open, and I had to like really shove it. And it was like opening up a can of tennis balls. It was like, whoosh, nobody's been up there in a long time, and put a flashlight around, and I saw these boards laying up against the wall. Got up there, and I tiptoed over to these boards, and when I turned them around, they were paintings, and they were of a little boy and a little girl playing with a dog. And it's like a series of 5 paintings. And I was like, my God, this is probably it. We probably figured it out. And when I found those paintings and acknowledged them and acknowledged that we have them and their names, it seemed to like help them move on in a way. Mm-hmm. And it felt very compelling to me. And at this point, I'm almost in my 30s, and I'm like, this is so interesting. I want to keep going with this. And I just kept doing it, and started doing all the touristy stuff like Gettysburg, and just learning from people, really, people that are running tours, asking questions, until I got to a point where I met somebody locally that was into it as much as I was. And we decided to start our own quest. And it's just been evolving ever since,
Awesome.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Wow.
That's amazing.
It is
one of the best
amazing.
stories yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but crayon written on the ceiling is kind of scary to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and the crayons are just sitting in the middle of the floor, like.
That means that little shit's climbing the walls, man. That's
Right. Oh, they're just playful.
Well, we definitely understand running a haunted location. We run the old Phelps Dodge Hospital, which is the Copper Canyon Paranormal Research Center today. So we know what that can be like, and how that can change, what you come across, how often you come across it, whether it follows you back home or anything in between. So,
Yeah.
There's a lot more to taking that on than just having overnight investigators and letting people come and tour. There's a whole world of changes that occur from being involved that closely with a paranormal site. And from what I understand, the Hinsdale house is, we've actually never been there. It is on our bucket list. But we are well aware of the stories from friends and other investigators having gone there, and the stories of the things captured, and the massive amount of activity that occurs there, including Lourdes freaking out and demanding snacks on every further investigation she's ever gone on.
Yeah, let me say,
You're not going back there.
no, we're going. She wants to go.
No,
back.
I want to go back. But I have to say, that is the first and only place that scared me. To this day, is the first and only place.
Yeah.
And I want to go back because I do, but it really did. Like and it affected me too.
Yeah.
I was not myself. I was nasty. I'm never nasty.
Yeah.
I'm never nasty.
We call her Hinsdale Lourdes from that. She got named for it. First, let me say this first, because we mentioned this on other shows before. And so this is one of those places and situations when, because of the person who owns and runs the place, as well as you also orchestrate Wildwood Sanitarium, correct?
Yes.
Which we also had the opportunity to go to. And so this is one of those situations where the place is run well, and the people who go there and pay for the weekend or the night are treated well because of the person who runs it knows what it's entailing. He knows the field, and he knows what it's like to be the investigator who's not in charge. And so you do a great job, and you treat everybody really well and fairly with your locations. That needs to be said first, I think, because when people, if they're hearing about this for the first time or they want to go, that's important to know. It's well worth it, and you get treated really cool.
And I heard that the bathroom is a lot better now, right?
Yeah, I put the toilet on the other side of the wall now, so you can actually stare at the door opening at you as you're going to the bathroom, as opposed to being surprised.
Right, because the bathroom was a little scary. Because, well, let me just describe the bathroom. The bathroom was a little scary because the toilet is here, and then there's the door that goes to the basement. So you're sitting there staring at the basement door, and it's haunted. So you're like, oh my God, hurry up, I gotta get out of here. And I'm sorry, Sheree, go ahead.
I think the bathroom is the nicest room in the house now.
Yeah.
New floors, new shower, new everything.
Nice.
We were there with a small group of people. It was me and 4 other women, and we were doing an EVP session, and 2 of us noticed her go like this. So we said, you heard something? She goes, no. And she's like this. You sure you didn't hear anything? She goes, no, but you turned your head. She goes, I didn't move.
And I don't do that. I gotta be really,
just learn to go like this. Mm-hmm.
I have to be you have to have done something horrific for me to be nasty.
We buy her snacks. Ever since then,
sweet.
we buy her snacks
They
just
do.
in case that happens.
Just in case it like throw me snacks. Yeah. From the other room. Yeah, they better from the other room.
But that location does not the haunted bathroom, Sam Paltrusis. That location does not disappoint.
Funny, Sam.
I know.
It's true.
You literally get the shit scared out of you.
Yeah.
Talk about EVP in yourself.
Yeah.
Especially in the prior bathroom.
That location does not disappoint, dude. That's the other thing I want to say. It does not.
You hear whispers constant.
Stuff yeah.
Like, we
were sleeping on cots and stuff and couches in the living room area, and the little hole in the ceiling where the hot air is supposed to rise up to the bedrooms. One of the cameras recorded it sounds like 2 guys talking
while we were sleeping.
I was the only guy there, and we were all out. So.
He was out.
I was just there on Sunday with my daughter, and just dropping some stuff off, picking some things up, and we were in the living room, and she had asked me a question, and I have the cameras in the living room and the Mike's bedroom, the kitchen, the basement, and the upstairs now. And those are running 24/7, and they're capturing HD EVPs. And when teams come there now, they can actually retrieve the footage from those 5 cameras as part of their investigation, which is pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
But we captured that EVP, the little movie clip that I sent you, that was with me and my daughter this past Sunday, just even.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize that was your daughter.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
He's a proud dad too, and that's also something I really like. That's very cool.
I think
that was one of the clips you sent tonight, right?
It was the only clip I sent. I think that I could find on my phone.
The movie clip, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we break right into that, because I know you're short on time. You have another show right after this one, so let me pull that up and let's play that EVP clip. And as soon as I find it, here it comes.
That's been here for a while. That's been here for a while.
That's awesome. Clearly a voice, clearly speech, sound
loud.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely discernible to the ear. They're saying why. That was very cool.
Yeah, why did I put that couch there? Or why, it's like, and I wasn't there to investigate. It just happens, like you go there and stuff happens. Wow. That was one of the biggest reasons I purchased the location, is because of how active it was. Investigating other locations, you'll sit there for hours and be lucky to get an EVP like that. I went there for an hour, went through some, my friend went through the footage, and she's like, I got an EVP within the first 10 minutes. I'm like, and she sent it over to me. I was like, that's crazy.
It is a crazy location. It really is a crazy location.
How many people have ever told you that just in the approach to the house, within like 5 minutes or less, when they get within range, that they already start feeling getting anxiety, like nauseous, like we all felt off, and then we left and grabbed food, and then we came back, and then just starting to joke around, we kind of changed the energy and broke out of it. But I had one attachment problem when I lived in LA for a number of years, and that's the only time I ever felt like that, was that attachment, and then the approach to that house. Yeah, it's intense.
I felt it when I first was going there before I bought it. I mean, I just driving up that hill. It just had that weird feeling, and so many people, especially if they're on the intuitive side or psychic medium, say they've had dreams about it, or they feel it months before they even go. So
yeah,
I think Matt Haas from Island Paranormal Society, Strange Oddities podcast, said that he's never been there, but he's had stuff. He felt like it was calling to him. Anthony Seminelli's been there.
Anthony's been there a lot. Yeah.
The house calls like many people. I think certain people it calls you.
But I feel like it's calling people. But I feel like the people that actually listen to the call actually come and produce and help uncover things. You know what I mean? Like it's a collective effort. And I'm sure you'll say the same thing with your location. It's not all about you and your investigation. And it's about bringing in other people that do what we do, and hopefully they're going to get something different or something new, or maybe a puzzle piece that will open up a new door. And that's happened so many times with investigators coming there, sharing their evidence with me. It's like, wow, look at that. Or they picked up this person, or they may have picked up this person from the past history. And it's it's amazing,
That is one of the best things about allowing other groups to come in, because like you said, they may pick up something new, or they might confirm something you've picked up. Right. And that helps establish that base of what's going on in that building as well. We've had lots of other investigators come through and said, hey, we heard this woman on the thing. We think she said her name was Mary. Well, we can then turn around and go, you are absolutely correct. Mary's spoken before. We've captured her. We've heard her speak. And it validates what we've then captured. So yeah, it's great to be able to get that collective collection of data from different paranormal investigators, and be able for it to back up what you've captured, or like you said, be able to create something new that you go, okay, we haven't experienced that yet, and then be able to take that information and go back yourself and further research it.
Right.
Or maybe even discover the missing link. Right. That little piece you needed.
Tie it together.
That little, and then boom,
And the cool thing too, like with Hinsdale, even before I owned it, is that the team that was running it, they kept like a ledger, so I continued with that as I owned it. And as teams come there, it's kind of like where you fill out after you sleep at a bed and breakfast, and you kind of write what your experiences were, what you captured and where. So I have all these 3 giant books of paranormal teams from 2013 and on that have actually written down their experiences at the house or while they stayed there overnight, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Which will be useful.
Yeah.
The house has impeccable Wi-Fi, and
now
it was good when we were there too, like almost 2 years ago. But your cell phone signal, I don't care who your carrier is, within a mile or so of that house, right? It's as good as a brick paperweight. You get nothing.
I know. If it's an emergency, well, now maybe it's better. But if it was
better for Verizon and T-Mobile now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's better they put a Verizon tower semi-close by, and T-Mobile now that they merged with Sprint. It's a lot better.
T-Mobile. Okay.
One of your pieces of evidence that we're going to see, and I don't want to say what it is until it's shown, but one of the guests, I think it might have been Thomas Edward from the last show, had something from there. And we had, I think I sent it to you, Tony, we had a video from when we were there the first time with something similar, and then Daniel has something too. So that's when I saw that image.
That's
That's a continuity of 3 different investigations at 3 different times
because
that produced something up.
It looks very similar. I really feel like it's the same thing. It's the same.
Well, you know
from
what?
3 different sources.
With that said, and looking at time, let's go through that one, and we'll bring up that exact one you're talking about. So
Yeah,
let me share the screen here so we can see it. I think this is the photo you are referring to.
I think that is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to widen it so our audience can see.
Yeah, that is. When I saw that when we were reviewing evidence earlier, I probably spent more time on that than I did on anything.
Before we point out what we believe we're looking at, Daniel, you just want to give a little background on I guess other people having experienced this, and then we'll
I mean,
see
we
if our
have
audience can catch it.
There's a couple of stories associated with the house that could lay into this picture of what other people are experiencing. The first story is actually researching a family that actually lived there after the exorcism. They had an animal, and it was a very well-trained animal. And one day this animal jumped off his chair and ran down the road and jumped in front of a car, just out of the blue, and died. The other thing is that Clara Dandy, who lived there during the exorcism, was the family that was affected at the house. She's an animal lover, and she used to keep animals in the house, wild animals that she tamed, and she had gone through a few at the location, which could hone into what this could possibly be in the kitchen of the house.
Well, our the people in I'm going to bring our guests back in, but I see people already calling it out. Here's Anthony's response to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
Like a cat.
That's amazing. That is such a good catch.
It's it looks like it's gonna pounce up. I think to me that's what it looks like. But
I do have some videos on my YouTube page as well. So there was a team at the house. Their team name is Warriors of the Paranormal. The team leader's name is Bobby Ann Merritt, and they were spending the night there. And she had caught up with me, and she said, not much happened. I said, "Oh, that happens. I mean, you can't get paranormal 24/7, And within the next week, she's blowing up my phone, and she's like, "Oh my God, you need to see these videos." Because while they were sleeping, she kept the static cameras running, and she had fallen asleep on the couch. And you know how you like curl up and you kind of have that little space between your legs and your chest, and you're kind of like in a V shape. So she has a blanket on top of her, and it looks like an animal of some kind pops up underneath her blanket, moves around like this in that little crevice, and sucks back down into the couch. Now, there's no way for, logically that I can explain that. Then a couple minutes later on the same video, it looks like an arm goes underneath the blanket. You can see it. It looks like an arm and a hand. I mean, literally.
I saw that one. It was in your, was it in her video? Did you post it? I think I saw that.
I posted it before, but I posted it before on my page and stuff, but it's on my YouTube channel. And I mean,
for people who are mildly skeptic, couches don't do that. You're lucky if you get Scotch Guard included.
And you can see the hand is so clear.
And that's actually sitting on the top of the couch, right?
No, I think that one is in the kitchen.
Yeah,
it looks like
looking in the door. Yeah,
we were there with a group called.
You're right. Yeah,
and she was panning the room in the living room, starting from like facing the camera at the front windows and turning towards the door that goes towards the kitchen. And so she made this little highlight video and sent it to us. She goes, "Did you see it?" And we're all like, "No." She goes, "You didn't see it?" And then when we watched it again, we went, "Well, we really don't deserve to call ourselves investigators if we missed that." And this black cat-like thing slithers around the door frame into the other room.
the corner. It goes
She went back subsequently. We weren't able to go.
Yeah,
Tried to recreate it.
you can see the head,
Yeah,
the
the
body,
shape.
and
then
it looks like it's crouched on the
Yep.
floor.
It's just sitting, like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
staring.
So
with-
those in the audience who are asking, I'm going to outline it for you. It's right. Those are the ears. There's the back of it as if it was curved. This looks like a paw. And then the other ones it's probably sitting on, but then back up to its chin and around the other ear.
Pretty cool.
Some
That's
people
awesome.
think it might
I
be.
mean, some people
Spectrum, right?
look at that picture even more. If you blow it up even more and say there's more than one, but
Really?
yeah, but I don't know how. I don't really see that. I see it's either.
I see one.
I
Yeah.
see one. I see one. A big fat one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Daniel.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I'm gonna go right on to the next one, just in the matter of time here, because I think you said you had to jump out about 10 minutes early, right, to get to the other one.
Just so I can figure out where I'm supposed to be going next.
No, totally
Go to
understand.
that. Tony, go to that one. Yeah, go to that one.
So, and I want to make point that this picture I did not take. This was taken by Jeff Fent, the guy that makes the spirit boxes from Columbus, Ohio. He's a amazing investigator, well-respected guy, and this just blew my mind. This picture, because there's always accounts of something keeping an eye on you, or you feel like something's watching you when you go up in the forest, and we've never been able to pinpoint specifically anything besides, well, maybe it's an animal, maybe it's
Well, I look at this and I'm thinking elemental. You can almost see a horn coming down, and if you're getting the feeling approaching the house of like a nauseous feeling, that's pretty typical for elemental areas.
Yep.
And didn't Thomas say last week that there's a lot of Native American activity in that area?
Yes. The one Chris Sutton, the shamanistic practitioner out of St. Louis, when I was showing everybody this picture. I'm like, what is it? Tell me what it is. Tell me what you think it is. And he right away said pukwudgie. I'm like, that's a form of cryptid that keeps track of Native American burial grounds and stuff like that, which would make sense to me.
Yep.
And we've been doing a lot of healing and a lot of to the land up to that point, where we're trying to let the spirits of the land know that we're there in peace, and trying to do some healing to the land. So that's why we have that giving tree up in the forest, and we do a lot of offerings to the spirits there to help make it a more pleasant place, because it's only had negative connotations before I bought it. And my whole thing is it didn't feel demonic to me. It never did from the moment that I got there, but it did scream to me. The house did scream to me needing to have its story told. And there's a lot to it. And this is just another element. This comes from the outside of the house, of that property. So it's just, I don't know what it is for sure, but
I don't. I'm sorry. It looks like it has kind eyes to me. I don't know why.
I don't know if I'd put my hand and pet it.
Kind.
No, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, it does look like one of those like cute things but then you go like this, and then on the cartoon, just like,
Or in what was that? A Jurassic Park?
Yeah,
that little dinosaur, and then he goes, oh.
Yeah, no, it looks like something you would see on a detergent bottle or something too.
Yeah, it looks kind of cute.
Fabric soft with pukwudgie,
Yes.
but no, not petting it.
Looks like something you throw a chunk of raw meat at from a distance, but you don't get
since Jeff captured that picture, 2 other teams have captured a similar looking creature in regular cameras. So, and it's not something that would normally want to show itself. So the fact that it makes me feel like we're making headway with it, that they feel comfortable with us, that they feel comfortable with what we're doing. And everybody that goes there is kind of on the same page, and I think that's important. When people are going there, to have valuable information and understand what we're trying to accomplish at the house. And that's why it's very important for me when people come there to be able to tell them everything and kind of do a walkthrough with them and explain what we're trying to accomplish, so they can do their own thing, but also try to stay on the same page of the goals that we have as the owner and trying to figure things out. So
I love that too, because everybody in the field talks about how you bring the field further is by having unified body of knowledge and evidence and experience from all different places and pooling it together and not proprietary this and that. And so at least as an example or as a prototype for how that's done, this house is doing that. He's got probably the most emboldened set of continuing, like this happened and these bunch of teams got it. And this happened and these bunch of teams got it. You have a collective building on incidents that's just not everything's not just a one-off, so to speak. I think that's a prototype for how to take collective different teams, different experiences, and start building a universal body of knowledge at a place.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's it sounds like, it sounds like Daniel's doing just that.
I gotta say this too.
You can't ask for anything better than for that to happen, because that's how real answers are going to come. So
exactly.
Ton of credit to you, Daniel.
In the past few weeks, Sam Beltruse's name has been coming up a lot, and it seems like he's on the show one day, I'm on the show the next day, and and all I've been hearing is that my house is one place that he would not want to go to, but I think it's calling him. I think he needs to come and check it out. I'll go.
There you go, Sam.
There you go, Sam.
I'd love to have his perspective on the location and just kind of see what happens. Nothing negative. I know it has a very bad vibe from the stories, but nothing negative's ever happened to anybody as far as like people being possessed or anything like. I mean, there's definitely a spirit there that's a bastard, but as long as you're a grounded person, you can handle that, and I tell that to everybody, just need to be grounded. But I'd love, he's an amazing author and a researcher, and I'd love to have him come there as well at some point and check it out.
Yeah, he is awesome. He is awesome. Do you have many instances with people where you hear experiences, let's say, and of course I'm not saying name any names, but does it happen where you'll hear something and you go, it doesn't sound consistent, like, because it does have lore to it, right? There was an exorcism that failed.
Right. Is it something? What's the question?
Do you hear a lot of things happening that you don't think sound consistent with the history or with the?
No, I'm not trying to denounce what happened there. It very well could have happened, but it also, things can die down with time. But also, I look back in the 70s now when they had this exorcism. This is prior to the movie The Exorcist coming out, so this is very taboo. And back then it was, you're dealing with demons or you're dealing with angels, and you're not dealing with ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts. And they probably deemed what was happening there demonic. I mean, poltergeist-like activity happens there. It happens now. We've captured that kind of stuff, but I've been involved with 2 demonic cases in my years. And what I feel at the Hinsdale house does not feel like what I felt when I was at those 2 locations. And now it could be blinding to me because I'm the owner and it's trying to protect me, and maybe it wants me to just keep luring people in. I don't know, but it's I don't get that vibe, and I never have.
I don't think it's demonic, but it's there is a lot angry spirits there, and there's like I can't say that there's not happy spirits there, but there's like negative spirits, but not demonic. Like they're angry. There's some anger there.
There's this one. He comes out, often, not often, but I mean, he does come out for people, and it depends on how you interact with him and how late he stays, and Well,
let me ask you: does he hang out mostly upstairs? Because that's what happened. I was upstairs. I'm gonna tell you real quick what happened. I was upstairs, and I felt like an entity or something was gonna rush into me, and I got scared and I ran down. I ran downstairs.
She went upstairs with 3 REM pods, came down with 2 because time to put them down was not happening.
And that's never ever happened to me before.
It was really odd to see that.
It scared the shit out of me. I still want to go though, and I don't think it was demonic either. I don't. It was but I felt like an anger, really angry. That's what I felt, but not demonic. I don't know.
Kenny's in there too. Kenny wants to come. He's the big skeptic guy. I would love for him to come there, just to get his point of view too, or maybe Maybe because there's been a lot of things that have happened at the location where people have captured something, and I've been able to figure out, like, oh, you know what? There was a freaking bird living in the hole there that maybe made those noises, or there's a lot of things that having somebody as knowledgeable as Kenny come through and actually walk through could maybe debunk some of the stuff, which is fine, which is good. But I can honestly say I've experienced things that I can't explain there. So it's what drew me to the location, which wanted me to coax me into buying it in the first place, because it was going to be taken away. It was going to be torn down. So saving it was important.
You saved it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
awesome.
Well,
all right, I'm going to keep moving on to the next clip or next photo. And this one's really interesting. So I'm going to pull it up so our audience can see it. And you can give Daniel an explanation as to what we're looking at. Give me just 1 second here to bring it up. Why is it not coming up?
Because it's computers.
Yeah, I think it's a little delay.
There we go. Okay, here it comes.
So this one was taken. It's just right upstairs. Going up the stairs, and this one was taken with a Canon Mark II camera, no flash, and I looked at that and I was like, wow, that just to me it looks like a girl in a dress. It looks like a
wedding dress to me.
Now,
it does.
The thing, I can't actually physically say that's a girl in a dress, but I showed this to Clara Dandy, right? The Clara. Who was there during the estrogen, and she said, "That's my Laura." And I said, "Wow!" And if you really zoom in, you can see a face, and that was right out. That's right outside of her room. That's her room right there.
And
you can right here.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And do you think is there someone next to her?
She's
Yeah, there's a little girl.
Yeah, I mean, to the left, there seems to be like another.
Now that to the right, we thought was a little girl too, but if you look closely, I think it looks like a shadowy something.
Yeah, to me, there are chairs upstairs, as you guys know, and that could have definitely cast a shadow from the light.
Yeah, I think that's what that is.
That's what I thought.
But on the
that's
other
been brought up to me many times.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah,
but on the other side of that, you see, on the other side of her,
Mhm.
it looks like another little, like it's cut off. It's behind her.
Right there.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, there are curtains there, different layers wrapped and tied. So there could have been physical light coming in, and that could just be a reflection of light coming through cloth and just kind of pixelating to make that kind of feature. But
you can see her face. You can't see her face.
It does look like it. Yeah.
You can. It's right here.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a great catch.
And there's been a lot of people that have come there, like Tim Shaw and many people that have said that they've captured this girl. And and I asked Clara, I said, because I've met her a couple times in Oregon, and I said, why would Laura come back? She was the one that was affected the most out of her kids after she died. I said, why would she come back to this house that affected her? And she goes, I know why she came back, but she wouldn't tell me why. It's just it's crazy.
Because Audra, I agree with you. It looks like some kind of wedding dress, maybe a prom dress. I don't know, but it's very fluffy.
Yeah, it's got that sort of wedding dress look to it.
Yeah, it does. Wow. That's crazy.
Okay, let me move on because he's got some really good ones here. So let me move on to the next one. And Daniel, you can give us an intro into this one.
Yeah, so this is just a side-by-side from my live static camera. Now, this is when I only had one camera. And when I first got to the location, it had, like you said, your phones don't work. It had no access to the outside world. It had no way of communication with the outside world. And part of what I wanted to do was bring the house to people that couldn't be there. So let people see the inside and let people come in and investigate and check it out, while we're not there. And let's see if things happen when nobody's at the house. And we came up with this idea with the guys at Paranormal Warehouse. And so this was the first night we streamed live, a live static camera back before Facebook took over who can see what and when you're posting stuff and stopping you from having people that actually like your page, knowing that you're live and all that kind of stuff. So, as you could see, there was almost 500 people watching at that point, just a live static camera of the room. And it was so cool because I was in there and I was answering questions and telling people about the location that didn't know about it before. And in a way, able to promote it and let people know about it. And, nothing was happening as far as, any paranormal activity. But I remember I had talked for about 4 hours and I was sitting on my couch and I had passed out. I just fell asleep and the thing was still running. And I wanted to keep it running till the next morning. And then I got woken up to my phone. It's going buzz, 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 buzz. And I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? And I looked at it and I'm like, my God, there's still 500 people watching. And then I'm seeing all these pictures people are sending me of this what looks like a shadow that came through the door. And I was like, holy cow, first night of running these cameras. And we captured that, it blocks out the door frame. And that's right where the front door is. There's no way for any light. Because how the house sits, that's the back of the house. There's no light coming from that way that would have projected, any type of shadow. And at that point, when I had the house, the windows were all still boarded up too. So there was no way for any light to get in. And there you go. I was like, man, we got like what I think is the holy grail on the first night of live streaming for people on Paranormal Warehouse. And it was like pretty cool.
And it's really remote off. Like there's no cars going by, even if the windows there's no cars going by with lights.
No, it's a dead end.
You can't see it. There's no car in there.
And it would have had to have come in from the porch.
Yeah.
Kenny, there is a video on Paranormal Warehouse that can be pulled. Yes. It was the first live stream, so we could pull that at any point.
That's awesome.
That's amazing capture.
Yeah. Especially first night of doing it. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one because, like I said, I'm just keeping an eye on time for Daniel.
Are you rushing us?
No, I'm not. I don't want to rush him at all, but I do know that feeling of having to be in two places at once.
We'll bring him back again.
It is what it is, everything works out. I don't sweat it. It's all good.
So am I.
Yeah.
Says Chris, all good.
All
right, now this one I find fascinating.
This one, for a couple of different reasons for me. This is the kind of the night that I was there that I decided to start pursuing to buy the location. I was there with Greater WNY Paranormal Society, and at this point, the house was in foreclosure, and they were being told that it was going to be torn down. All the electrical, the ductwork was ripped out. If you wanted to use the toilet, you needed to run down to the pond with a bucket, pick up a bucket of water, and bring it back. And I have a video of this up on my YouTube page. Behind the Shadows, Hinsdale house, and I was in the kitchen with the co-founder Cameron, and we had our no camera, or we had one camera running, and then Michelle, who was the tour guide, and they're talking about the exorcism, exorcism this, exorcism that. And I had started doing some research on other people that had lived in the house. And we had stopped talking about the exorcism, and I just jotted out a couple names that I knew who had passed away. And I said, Flo, are you here? Now, this is the older couple that lived in the house in the 1980s. And I got what just felt like energy on my arm. The hair stood up on my arm. And it was like nothing that I had ever felt in a long, long time. And I had a K2 meter in my hand, and it started going off. And I continued to ask questions, which I felt like I was getting direct answers from Flo Misnick. And a lot of synchronicities happened after this. So I was walking up the stairs with the K2 meter, and the K2 meter stayed lit in my hand all the way up the stairs into the master bedroom. And then it just went away after we walked into the Mary's room, is the room where all the flies are and things like that. So I told my photographer, I said, Louis, get in there and just plaster the room with pictures. And this is what he came back with after he took some pictures. And it looks like a leg walking up the stairs of some kind.
It sure does.
So
this looks like a full spectrum photo.
Yeah,
well.
full spectrum. Yeah.
Yep.
And I just was like, wow, that's pretty neat, considering the experience that I just had when I was in there. So now the next day I posted a picture of the Hinsdale house up on my timeline, and I say, oh, just like you do when you go on an investigation with the team, you're like, oh, this is where we were. And I get a message from this lady named Jackie Chandra. She goes, oh, you were at my grandmother's house. I go, oh, who's your grandmother? And she says, Flo and Joe Misnick. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. Mm-hmm. So we became friends, and she comes up to the house. She's interested in the paranormal research, and she'll help out with tours, give her stories about when she was there, because she had experiences when she was a young girl in this house with going to visit her grandparents. And she said she feels very close to her grandmother there. And I said, well, the synchronicities, do they coincide? I don't know, but it's just kind of neat, the fact that she reached out to me the very next day, and then I ended up getting the location,
Yeah, that's awesome.
That looks like a leg.
Oh, that definitely looks like a leg. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and we've been on that stairwell before too, and there's nothing present there on a regular basis that would explain, something was hanging down, there was a curtain, or there's nothing there on the stairs normally, right, Daniel? I mean, we were there.
No.
Well, I just zoomed in as much as I could on it, and you can clearly see the leg, and you can see that the foot is literally on the edge of that step.
It reminds me of that lamp from
to where it would take the next step to go up.
Yeah,
it's crazy. That's crazy. It's so good that I'm like, is that a real person, like a live person? When I was looking at it, I made sure I was scanning the whole picture to make sure that was it, because it looks so real, like a person.
It's a very pronounced catch, and this is where evidence speaks to the integrity of the investigator and vetting your process, right? Because if you have a team of 4 people and nobody's on the stairs, then you can say that's an anomaly.
That's right.
I don't know what it is, but it shouldn't be there.
Right.
But if the team, I don't know where everybody is. Maybe Kevin was on the stairs, and then you have doubt.
Right.
But otherwise, you don't have definitive proof of what it is, but that's an anomaly that should not be there.
Yeah, and we knew where everybody was on our team, and that's kind of another reason why I want to build like a base camp area too. Like in the wintertime, will be my goal at some point, hopefully within the next 2 years, is to build a museum and a base camp that has the closed circuit TV monitors with the cameras from the house for the team to hang out at, while other members can go in and investigate, so they're not outside the house, maybe hearing somebody talk, or just to help with all of that, those little things that could ruin your evidence, because it's so easy to sit around the fire and maybe scream or just something happen while other people are in the house investigating, and to have a location that'll have, shut the noise off, I think it would help.
Anthony Simonelli from Seekers Club of the Paranormal in Queens, who's watching tonight. If I'm not mistaken, when he was there once before, we weren't with him, they had everybody set up kind of outside, either tented or something, and they left equipment and everything monitoring and running inside, the cameras and stuff. And he would highly, highly endorse that idea, because it really is a great way to monitor and remove yourself from affecting the environment that you're just surveilling.
I had one girl when I first bought it. Well, 2 actually. Melody Knapp, who's now on the Ghost Finders with me, and Carissa Fleck, who's now Carissa Hartley. They went and spent a few days there, and when I first bought it. And one of the stories about Laura, the daughter that died from the Dandy family, is that she loved the smell of what's that minty stuff that you put on your chest when you have a cold? Vapor rub, right? Vicks Vapor Rub. So she liked having that. That was soothing for her. So Carissa's idea was, let me go get a tub of Vicks Vapor Rub, and I'm just going to leave it on Laura's bed. Let's go get some dinner. Left the recorder going, and we left. We came back. There looked like there was a fingerprint in the Vapor Rub. I'm like, whoa. it was so neat.
That's very cool.
I'm addicted to Vicks.
Are you?
Yes. I don't leave the house without a Vicks in my purse. There's a Vicks next to my bed.
Yeah, I took her elk hunting once, so everyone's spraying themselves down so the elk can't smell them. What I look over, what's she doing? She's putting Vicks vapor rub on. We didn't get any elk.
You know, I hate it, but it works.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does
me too.
work. It does work though. It works. So,
What's next?
Well, I think we, from a time perspective, covered the shots in the video he sent, which is great because I wanted to make sure we didn't miss any of those. But Daniel, for anybody who's listening, is there anything coming up you want to promote or sites you want to be able to send people to? If there are, go ahead and do that now.
I mean, for me, it's easy. Just my name, DanielKlaes.com. You'll hit my place, Hinsdale House, my team, Wildwood Sanitarium, my store, any events that I'll be at throughout the country. And then one thing I want to have everybody look out for, which I was just filming last week with Nick Groff up in Oregon. We are doing a docu-series that's going to be coming out after the new year. It's going to be called Dead Remains. Based on the history and the stories of this house. And the things that we've uncovered is going to blow people's minds with this location. It really will.
Yeah, you have a quite followers over here with our audience.
Yeah, he sure does. But like I said, he's been around for many, many years in the paranormal and with the Hinsdale house. So yeah, I'm sure he's definitely brought in some new audience members to our show, which was cool. So thank you for that, Daniel. Mm-hmm. But what a great path you're going down, and can't wait to see what else is discovered. And like you were just saying about this thing with Nick Groff, be very interesting to see what else you've discovered and what that leads to and what other doors that open. And
it's so hard to not say anything, you know.
I'm
sure. In the house. It's so hard.
We could spend a couple more hours on Vicks Vapor Rub. I've got some time.
So I guess
that house is
we're
amazing.
going to have a schedule go.
Well, I definitely want to go investigate at some point the Hinsdale house. And Daniel, if you're ever down in Arizona, let us know. We'll take you to the Copper Canyon. It's also a extremely interesting and active location.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It varies by night that we've been in there, and Chris and Audra can attest to the fact that you just never know what you're going to run into. So,
and it doesn't matter
in Arizona. Definitely let us know.
It doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock at night. Man, the activity doesn't change in that hospital.
Nope.
Awesome.
Very true.
I will definitely keep you up on that if I'm down there for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Just reach out if you get to this area.
All
right. Well, we're going to, I guess, call that a night because, like I said, Daniel's got another one to do. But I want to thank thank Daniel so much for taking the time to join us and share that evidence with us. That was fantastic.
Yeah, this was fun.
And of course, I want to say thank you to everyone in our audience. A lot of people that show up week after week after week, and I can't name them all off, but you know who you are. And all the new people that joined us tonight, I saw some new names we haven't seen before, so thank you. We do this every week on Wednesday nights, and come check us out. Well, I'm not sure if we're on next week, but anyway, check us out the next time we post a live.
Follow the page, that way you'll get it'll say that they are live now. So you're
right.
Exactly.
Just either submit to the YouTube channel for Entity Voices or Tony Rathman or Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence, or any of the channels that post it. But hey, Chris, you want to give our closing?
All right, guys, don't forget Hinsdale House. It calls to you. We've had it on 4 different shows now where evidence have come up about the Hinsdale House. It seems like a fantastic place, so it's calling to us. But no matter what you do, everybody stay haunted.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.